Hello. What do you think? I would expect nothing less, my friend.
I think so. Sounding pretty good here. Am I sounding good to you?
Yeah, excellent. Well, it looks real, Mike. If it's any consolation. Yeah, Matt, how are you?
Good. How you doing, mate?
Good, good, man. Usually my hair's up, so I don't know if you recognize me, but
I do. I do. It's good to see you.
you too. Hell yeah. But are you in town right now? You in LA?
Yeah, I am. I'm heading back out again soon, but I'm where else? Where are you?
Yeah, I live like right outside Beverly Hills, like Pico, La Cienega, like
Oh,
right.
nice.
But yeah, I'm actually heading out first thing tomorrow. I got to go to Texas for like 4 nights, I guess, and then I'm back. But
Oh, cool. What are you
but
doing now?
random, man. I'm doing like Padre Island tomorrow night, San Antonio one night, Bastrop, and then I got to go to fly to Nashville, but I'm doing like Clarksville, Tennessee. It's like 45 minutes from Nashville,
Oh, cool.
like a Sunday night, and then I'm back. But it's a lot of bouncing around, but it was somehow worth it. So
That's nice. I love those things.
yeah, you too. But yeah,
This is my regular house. I'm in my normal. Let's see if I can find evidence, but uh, yeah, these are the Halloween cushions that my wife keeps buying Halloween crap every time we're at it. Like I can't stop her from this. This is her thing. And somewhere I thought it'd be within shot, within reaching distance, but it's not. It's the novelty cushion that looks like our cat. Uh,
ah,
but that's disappeared. That's gone. But yeah, this is my apartment. The curtain is drawn because otherwise I would be a silhouette. I would look significantly more sketchy if the curtain was open. I would look like I'm in witness protection. But I'm here. I'm here. Minor correction though. I'm not the one and only Matt Kirshen. There is a science. There's a lecturer. There's some college lecturer
oh,
with the name who I've pushed onto page 6 of Google now, and if I was him, I'd be annoyed. I'm definitely. It's very annoying.
yes, yes. We just started the ninth season, um, but which is interesting because I don't remember a couple of the seasons. But yeah, it's funny you should ask. It's super funny show. We have Howie Mandel, Tiffany Haddish, Whitney Cummings, um, John Lovitz. we just started with Jeff Garlin from Curb Your Enthusiasm, and Brad Williams, super funny guy with a couple of Netflix specials. And yeah, so it's an interesting challenge to write for different voices, you know, but it's super fun. You know, it's all it's a lot of trivia, which I realize is slowly making me autistic. Because it's researching all these weird facts. So I can't have a conversation without working in, you know, a random fact. Like I'll be at a party and like, you know, Claude, you want a beer? Did you know that beer was invented in Mesopotamia? Like,
Yeah, I don't. There are occasionally, yeah, you don't probably science, which you have guessed it on. We'll have to get Claude at some point. When we go through the week in science news with comics, we call it probably science because we don't know what we're talking about, but we do have. Yeah, there are occasional stories of like oldest bottles of various alcoholic drinks being discovered and people trying to recreate the recipes and the like. So yeah, they pop up from time to time. But I did not know about Mesopotamia. I did not have that to hand. Yeah. To the United States, I don't know if there were cultural. I don't know if there were cultural difficulties. There was like a period of time where I had to translate my material, and like, and now it's harder. Now it's harder the other way. Now it's harder. I find it tougher when I gig in England now. When I go back home, because firstly, I've written so much stuff from the perspective of a Brit living in America, and then I'm also like, why aren't you charmed by my accent? Why why does this audience not find me instantly delightful just from how I sound? So yeah, but there isn't really the culture shock when you so much of American culture is just part of the landscape in every other country. If you grow up with so much American TV and almost all the movies are from America, so it's not like you you don't get shocked. Little turns of phrase. It's more that I will say something and then not realize that they don't understand that sentence. Even still, to this day, I've been here almost 2 decades now, and I'll sometimes say something, and my American wife will be like, "What is that thing you just what? What does that word mean?" And I did not realize.
But by the way, speaking of communication, I just got a comment in the Twitch stream right now that says, "We can't hear you, Michael." So I've just fixed that problem, my guys. So you're probably wondering like why people were just going like, okay, well, it seems like these two guys are answering questions from the void of some sort. Is this
so they could
not hear me asking you questions?
Just you.
They could just hear you and Claude. So it just sounded like you were answering to an imaginary person. Like you guys were doing a mock podcast.
Like those PR things they do for movies sometimes, where the movie star just records one side of the interview and then the local, all the different countries get to drop their person asking the same questions.
Yes, totally.
Oh my God. Matt, you're
somehow, and it looks like someone in Poland got to interview Brad Pitt, but Brad Pitt just sat in a studio somewhere.
Well, it's that weird, obvious pause that like the newscasters do because there's always a 5-second delay. They're like, "Now we're gonna go to Steve with the weather." Hi, thumbs off.
It's funny. It's funny that you mentioned Poland right there because obviously, in Europe, Matt, one of the cool things about doing comedy overseas, and especially in Europe, is the countries are so close together. The languages are so vastly different from region to region. Is that something that's a challenge, for some of the people that you've seen go over there that aren't, originally from Europe? Because obviously, you grew up with that's just commonplace, like a few hours away is another language.
It depends on the country. Because because I did comedy in the UK for initially, and there are all those gigs around Europe. It's tougher now thanks to, Brexit bullshit. But now I don't know how it is now for my Brit friends. I don't used to just be able to just go to France, go to Germany, wherever, Netherlands, and just do gigs. Now I think there's paperwork involved and it's a whole thing. But and it's so close as well. Like you say, it's like getting from. It's quicker for me to go from the UK to Amsterdam than it is for me to go from LA, where I live now, to like Michigan by a couple of hours. So yeah, you do all those gigs. It's with the audiences. Sometimes that it depends how the gig's organized. Sometimes it's a lot of expats, so there's a lot of Brits and Australians and Americans there. When it's the locals, it very much depends country to country. Like the Dutch speak ludicrously good English for some reason. Like they all so there's no language. Say with Scandinavia, there's no language barrier. You maybe have to slow down a bit at the beginning, but after that, it's fine. The Dutch have a different problem where they are the most stoic people on the planet. Like advice for any comic gigging in the Netherlands for the first time, it's genuinely worth your while at the beginning of the set telling them that laughter is a good response to humor. Otherwise, you're like play to silence for 40 minutes and then get this round of applause at the end. And like, we really enjoyed what? Like, you just.
Yeah, I love what you just said right there, Matt, because, obviously one of the things, Claude, I've hosted a lot at HI Santa Monica when we had the Comedy in English show there. And a lot of the times there were a lot of, especially in the summertime, a lot of Scandinavian audiences there. And a lot of the times, Claude, you would be literally, I was, for lack of a better term, going at a 9 out of 10. And they were still just kind of like with their arms folding, nodding their heads quietly. And it was quite a situation, was it not?
No, but Matt, you're dead on about the Dutch. I mean, because even German audience members look at the Dutch and go, "You'll need to listen up for this."
The Germans, known with their sense of humor, obviously known with their sense of humor. I want to talk about this. And by the way, guys, feel free to to intersperse any time in. Don't wait for me to ask you a question or anything like that. If you guys want to talk amongst yourselves, because apparently for the first 5 minutes, no one could hear me anyway. But one of the unique things, Maddie and Claude, about HI Santa Monica was it wasn't just performing in one country. You weren't just performing to the Dutch. There may have been a Mongolian man sitting next to that Dutch couple, and then next to that person is somebody from New Caledonia. So how do you navigate when you've got multiple groups of people from different walks of life, like you're performing at the UN?
Do you want to go for? I think you just go slowly at the beginning. I mean, that's what I do anyway to this day because of my accent in America. I start off slower, and then because I'd speak quite quickly, so you start off slowly and let them tune into your voice. And yeah, when I've done your show and there is, people who have English as a second, third, fourth language, yeah, you just have to sort of accept that sometimes there's going to be people in the audience who don't understand anything you're saying, and they're just there to experience a thing, and they're going to look at you puzzled for the entire time you're up there and then leave. And they're just like...
No, it's true. I mean, sometimes that, you get up there and you're explaining what's going on, but they still look at you like, when is the TED Talk over? And when do I get the free juice box that Mike put in the back of the room?
Yeah. The snacks are definitely a way to convince people to come in. I can't tell you how many times though, Claude, I've had people come in there. They're like, "Oh, cookies." They grab the cookies and they look at the show, they nod their head and they walk out the door. And I'm like, it's not, I think they think it's like DoubleTree with the cookies, like, with the
no, totally. Yeah. Well, you mentioned like, what do you do? How do you navigate? And yeah, Matt's absolutely right. I mean, you start off just kind of slow, which for me is challenging because for those of you who haven't seen me, just imagine a Tasmanian devil in a blender. That's usually kind of the pace that I go. But I remember, Michael, do you remember this one time you were like, "Claude, you did listen, good job. Have you thought about being louder and faster for these people?" Which is true. I should not do that. But I enjoyed hosting. One thing that did work for me, that, Mike, sometimes I'll do that. I'll say my agent called me up and said, do you want to do this gig? I said, yes, but I have a couple of rules. Rule number one, I want a man who looks like a serial killer on the second row. Bam! I'll point him out. At least stuff like that, they still, regardless of if English is their first language, at least they're looking at the guy and they're relating. If you could somehow, you know what I mean? Somehow point some people out, bring them in. That's a technique that has worked for me. Does that answer the question, Mike?
No. It absolutely does. I mean, I think, one of the things about that is that, like, you're never going to know, right, Matt, from show to show, what somebody's, language proficiency is going to be, what their cultural experiences is going to be.
Yeah. And then they'll come to you and in very broken English at the end of the set, say, thank you for your speech.
Oh my gosh. That is absolutely incredible. I think one of my favorite things about that, though, is that one of the biggest mistakes I've seen a lot of comedians make in that room is that they will be like, do you know what a chair is? Do you know what doors are? I want to make sure that you're on the same page as me. And it's like you're just making it more awkward that way. Like, you're making it worse that way. Like, well,
it's also insulting.
Completely insulting. Yeah. Like, most of the time, these people are more intelligent than any of the performers that are on stage.
Right.
So I mean, that's one of the things that I've actually recognized, especially with the language proficiency thing, Matt, like you were talking about the Dutch. They always are like, yeah, I speak about 5 languages, and they act like that's just normal.
Right.
Yeah. It's crazy. And then, I'm there with my like broken high school French, just about.
I mean, go ahead.
Yeah. Americans with Spanish or whatever. You can just about ask where the library is. That's it.
I know. I'm dyslexic, I'm always very impressed when people speak different languages, and every European friend I have, they speak like 5. I'm like, well, I got Spanglish and Pig Latin, and that's about it.
Wait, Pig Latin is you actually can speak Pig Latin? Is that a thing? Or also, is it appropriate to say that? Can you be canceled for saying pig? Is it I don't know the origins of any of this stuff, by the way. I have no idea.
You might piss off the pigs. And, I don't think the Romans are going to start marching. So it's, they call it a dead language. I don't call it a dead language there. There's so many words derived from Latin. So I like to say it's alive, I mean.
There is, I'm trying to remember what it's called. I think it's Spotlight. There's like a directory for actors in the UK that your agent would just put you in if you're going for auditions. And I was in it for a bit when I was in the UK and was auditioning for stuff. And so I showed up for an audition for a small role in a TV show, and they were looking at my profile, and I guess my agent had like checked the wrong box because it had me down as a fluent native speaker of Latin. Like, yeah, no, I was born and raised in
oh my gosh,
in ancient Rome. My
this
centurion father was.
I get in my mind, I get this picture of Matt just showing up in a toga.
Yeah. Just purely coincidentally, I'd just been to a frat party, but it's.
You're trying to think all the Latin, you're like, habeas corpus. Carpe diem.
I think one of the things about that is that, like, I think that a lot of people can learn more languages than they think they can. They just have this kind of deer in the headlights look because it goes, oh, the grammar, the pronunciation, the conjugation is all so foreign compared to whatever my local language is. But in reality, it's just understanding patterns, right, and rhythms and all that, right?
Yeah, well, people forget too that, I mean, English is very arguably the most complicated language. So I think we're assuming, most of Americans at least assume that like every other language is going to be that intricate, that complicated, and it's not always the case. It's usually not.
I do have to. I don't know if any of you have this though. Sometimes I have to stop myself if I see like a kid, like a foreign kid speaking another language. I'm like, wow, that kid's learned Italian. Like, it's just, how clever is that kid? How clever is that Italian child? Our kids can only speak English.
I mean, look. Here's one of the things I always talk about. This is that when comedians come to HI Santa Monica, and they used to do those shows and everything like that, a lot of the times afterwards they kind of said, they're like, wow, I've never realized how much I haven't traveled, how much I haven't experienced, just because of all my references are so local or just regional. And I think, Claude, obviously, you're somebody who, I don't know, you've performed in Antarctica, pretty sure. So, you've done shows all over the place. Do you feel as a performer that it's important for you to play not only just as many countries as you can, but many different types of people as you can?
Oh yeah, 100%. I've seen a lot of comedians in LA who I think they're brilliant, but they haven't got out of that bubble, and they're just making immediate assumptions about everyone. They're like, oh yeah, everybody here, I'm sure they hate Trump, and they live in an apartment that they spend too much money, and that they're all they know is their life.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They don't know beyond that, and so yes, I do think it's important to perform for people from different perspectives who disagree with you and who have different upbringings, and it's just more interesting, and it challenges you. And Mike, this just hit me. So Matt, when I would do the show Comedy in English with Mike, sometimes I get there early and I would help him promote. He'd give me some flyers, I'd walk around and hand them to people. And I vividly remember this for some reason. I got on the elevator, which is very lazy because there's like 2 floors. I don't know why I didn't walk, but I get on there, and there's a gentleman. It was just myself and this other gentleman, and I don't know where he was from. Maybe Bulgaria, maybe Romania, possibly Kosovo. But I do know one thing about this guy. He didn't know what. I know that because all I said was this. I gave him the flyer, and I said, hi, there's a comedy show. It's at 8:30. It's free, and there's also free snacks and drinks. And he looks at me really seriously, and he goes, I don't like music. I don't play any. That's great. This is going to work out, But I remember Mike and I were joking about, does he go through his entire day doing this? Does he answer questions no one ever asked him? Is he at a restaurant and the waiter's like, our special tonight, we have Salisbury steak, and we also have potato au gratin with a seafood platter. I don't like foosball. We're not going to play it. We're going to eat. But Mike, how often would you say you ran into characters like that?
Oh my God. I mean, do you remember there was I don't think you were there that night, but there was the woman with the banana. The banana woman. there was this woman. There was this woman who came out and she walks out of the room and she goes, do you have any other snacks? Perhaps a banana? And I said, unfortunately, this is all I have. I'm like, these are pretty healthy. You can try this. And I gave her this biscuit, like a Nutri-Grain bar or whatever it is type of thing. And she takes a bite out of it and goes, puh! And spits it out.
Oh my God.
And I was like, what country is this acceptable behavior? There's no way that this is just commonplace.
No, that's just a crazy person. That's a bad person. I remember that stand-up is pretty global now. Most countries in the world, if not all countries in the world, have some version of it. But I think that's fairly new. I think YouTube, the internet, is responsible for that. Years ago, there wasn't really anything. France, for example, did not have until relatively recently what you would identify as modern, conventional stand-up, one person standing at a microphone talking to the audience, rather than these sort of one-person sketches or multi-person sketches or clowning or whatever. I remember years ago trying to explain my job to some French girl in London, and the closest she got was, so you like one of those people who stands in supermarkets talking about special offers?
She thought you were a promotions barker at a supermarket.
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah, I give out samples, and that's my job.
Well, oh gosh. Well,
That's
I
hilarious.
stand in front of a little pyramid of cans, and
well, one of the things is that I think you're right though, Matt, in regards to like social media and YouTube and everything like that. Definitely has globalized, for lack of a better term, traditional stand-up comedy. Although nowadays most of traditional stand-up comedy means, hey, I have a podcast. I'm going to go up here and do a Q&A for 45 minutes, and then promote my TikTok. But the setup punch, the punchlines, act outs, all that stuff. I think people are much more familiar with that type of thing. For the longest time, the layperson did not seem to understand the difference between stand-up comedy, improv comedy, and sketch comedy. They saw it all as the same animal.
right,
Oh, wow.
and also when it was new, like the internet there are a few like cheats in different languages that the internet has put an end to. Like there's been a few different cases of people who were caught years later, like who got famous in their own countries, and then it like turns out like you were just translating like Carlin and Seinfeld bits into your local language.
What?
Oh man.
Yeah, there's been a few. There's been a few like that, and they got busted years later because YouTube existed and people would watch those like classic routines in English and just be like, that's his bit in Italian. What's like?
That's crazy. I mean, Matt, we've look. I've been guilty of this. Every once in a while, you're ensconced in comedy. You're hearing all these jokes, and every once in a while, you're on stage and you'll segue, and then you'll say something. You go, wait a minute, where did I hear that? And then you realize, oh my god, that is not my line. And like,
yeah,
that
was a constant worry. I think in any creative field, you're always worried that like, did I come up with that originally, or did I like at any level? Like Paul McCartney apparently spent days after he woke up with the melody. I think it was for Yesterday. Just checking with everyone he knew. Like, is this something? Is this a tune that other people have done? So yeah, you're constantly worried about like those little things creeping in. But I'm talking about like entire routines,
That's
like
crazy.
word for word.
I will tell you this. I'm not going to say who it is, but you will definitely know who it is because they've become insanely popular off of a podcast. But this gentleman who I've always gotten along with, we're cool now and everything. But a while back, I want to say maybe 08, around 08 or something. I saw him on TV do word for word a line that I did. And it's just very specific. It's not like, hey, dating's crazy. It was a very...
Wait, first off, dating must have been crazy for Claude Stewart if that's how he reacted when he went on dates.
But it was like, and I didn't even see it right away. My friend goes, dude, I recorded it. Watch this. I was like, okay. And I had his number, called him up, and I said, hey, man, just so you know, I do the same thing. And I wouldn't go in, how dare you? I just said, I do the same line, blah, blah, blah. And I swear to God, the reaction was, man, well, Claude, you've been doing comedy longer than me. Do you mind if I just do it on the road and I won't do it in town? That was, and so I just calmly said, it's weird. I have no patience with little shit, but with big things, I'm very calm. And I go, buddy, you can do it, but I'm telling you, we work the same clubs, and the owner might go, hey, that's Claude Stewart. That I just left it as that, But, now I'm about to do Texas for 4 nights for free potato chips, and he's selling out theaters. So, maybe it doesn't matter at this point.
I saw a bit of mine done on an Amazon Prime show this year. I'm not going to mention which show. And then I looked at the writing staff, and sure enough, of course, there were stand-ups on the staff. So I think a lot of it times, I'm not going to say that any of these people lifted my material intentionally, but I think subconsciously, I think it just falls into, they're pitching in the room. And it's like, oh, and then there's just like blah, 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 blah. I think I remember I was in a room once and this guy did this, blah, blah, blah. And you don't even remember that wasn't there. That wasn't like a bit. Yeah. They just think it was an experience they had type of a thing. They don't even remember that it was somebody doing a bit.
Then there's the argument, is someone saying it to their roommate in an Amazon Prime show different than Majid saying his own joke on stage, And I don't know. That's open for debate. I'd have to see.
I mean, it was so specific, and the references were so specific. It was really hard.
If it's someone like repeating it to their work like their office mates, then that's different. But I think on a professionally written thing that's being broadcast, that's that. I think that is dodgy. But it is hard explaining that as well to lay people. Like there's a gig I did years ago it was on the south coast of England, and it used to be like hosted by the guy who ran the bar. He'd hosted himself, and one day he wasn't. Well, I did it one week. He wasn't there, and his friend did it stepped in, and his friend opened with like 3 of my friend's material.
Oh,
like it was just like word for word their bits, and then he gets the first act on, and he comes off, and I'm like, hey, just like that's this guy's bit, that's this guy's bit. You can't really do that. And he said, I own the second biggest estate agency in Bournemouth. And that was his response. Like, oh, well, then I stand corrected. Okay.
Yeah. Did you steal that too?
Oh my gosh. Wow. That is, I mean, the biggest instance I ever had of it is just, I also will, I can also say sometimes it's based on, situations too. Like I had first time I ever did stand-up comedy was at a talent show during lunchtime in high school. That's a great decision. And I did like 5 minutes and it did not go went as well as you would think a 16-year-old doing stand-up comedy in the high school cafeteria would go at lunch. And then this other guy follows me and he does like 20 minutes and just crushes. He had like full-on act outs, like these characters, like callbacks, like literally was getting like an applause break. And then I came out here, I was like, wow, and I had no idea that your family life was so crazy. He's like, oh no, that's not mine. That was from Louis Anderson's special. Like but he never told the audience this. But again, you can plead ignorance because you're 16-year-old kid type of a thing. He's looking at it the same thing as like doing a monologue, in theater class. Right. Like, he's like, this is a piece from blah, blah, blah. And instead like this.
Yeah. And I think when you're 15, 16, that's kind of like, that's different. And also it's to an audience of school kids.
Yeah.
Like it's different from doing it in a professional club where the other people you're introducing are in one case housemates with a person whose joke you've stolen.
Well, crazy.
Well, he did become the staff writer on that Amazon show, but other than that, I mean.
You mentioned Louis. Louis, rest in peace. He was on the show that I write on, and he was very professional, very nice. And it's just a funny, weird come together story, real quick. So Mike knows this. I used to work on Dennis Miller's show, his HBO show. Like when I first moved out here, I met one of the writers. I was basically an intern, then I was assistant script coordinator, but I got to watch him write, which was awesome because he's very specific. He would change one verb and make the joke 5 times better. The reason I'm saying this, Jon Stewart was in the building next door and he was hosting Tom Schneider. I don't know if you remember, Tom Schneider had a late night show and he was subbing for him. So I was outside and I had just seen his HBO specials. Oh my God, John, that was awesome. And he was very humble. He was like, thanks. But you know what? I did a lot of topical stuff. I mean, next year, you're not going to be as impressed. And I was like, well, no, it was really funny. And then Louis comes out. Louis had just done Politically Correct with Bill Maher. And he walks out and, John, you were great. I just saw that in there. And then he looks at me and gives me he goes, kind of looks at me down and goes, and then walks off. And he never really talked about his sexuality on stage. That just wasn't part of his act, But I go, what was that about? John goes, well, you look like his ex-boyfriend. I go, oh, okay, got it. Cut to 20 years later, he's on Funny You Should Ask. I'm writing for him, and I was, oh, hey, Louis, how are you? He goes, hey, how are you? Kind of gives me this. I was like, still got
it. Still bitter towards you.
No, never did anything appropriate. Just a look, but I'll take it.
Also, did you just posthumously just out somebody a lot on a stream online?
Well, I think it's already been. Out there.
Yeah, this is not news to the world.
Okay.
It might not be.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, guys, we're going to continue on right here. We're going to have some fun right here. Matt and Claude are going to be working out some material that you can probably see very, very soon live in person. But before we do that, just want to let you guys know we have different guests every week. So follow at Comedy in English on all social medias to get the lineups, also to get the private Zoom link if you want to join us here in the Zoom room privately and listen to a spiel. If you do come in here, we do ask, though, that you turn on your microphones and your cameras so comedians can engage with you during their sets. But with that being said, guys, if you want to help donate and keep the show going, you can do so. You can see it in the banners right now on your Twitch stream. Venmo at Comedy in English, Cash App, money sign LA Goalkeeping Academy, and of course, PayPal, Comedy in English Bookings at gmail.com. We also have a Stripe link that's in the show notes too that you can go to directly if you want to use a credit card. But I don't know that one off top hand because it's like XYZ dash question mark dash 34. You know how those links go, right? You know how those links go. With that being said, Maddie, anything you want to start work some stuff out right now with us?
Yeah. What do we do? How we do it? Like,
we're just one free flow.
This is my first time on this show. So
so basically we give you like 15 minutes. You don't have to use the whole time, but you can just work some stuff out between Claude and I and the Twitch stream, and have fun with it. Have fun with it, and we'll just chat it up afterwards. We'll break down the bits that you just talked about, and then Claude will do his thing. He'll do the exact same thing, and then if there's still time left over, I'll do it as well. And then everyone will be like, "I am exhausted with comedy. Can I go do something else with my life?" And I go, "You didn't have to stay on this Twitch stream the entire time." Dude, there are people who literally watch YouTube's Twitch live streams of people sleeping. So I'm pretty sure people will keep this on the entire time. All right, guys, your first comic coming to the stage right now. Let's give it up for the one and only Matt Kirshen, everybody.
Nice. Wow. Yeah, this is my first time doing stand-up in this format like this after a little podcast first. But I've been spotlighted as well. I like it. I'm seeing the full image, and I'm seeing like how much of this bullshit that you can see in the background here as well. Wasn't aware of that. Sorry about the mess. This is I should have tidied this up more. I took my little niece to the zoo the other day, and can we agree? I know objectively the zoo is so much more ethical and so much better than it used to be from that point, but it's less fun. Can we agree it's less fun? Can we agree it's like less fun than the, because if you go to the zoo now, you spend the whole day looking at this sort of huge enclosure going, I think I see some. Can you see? I think I can see. Is that it could be leaf, but I think that's is that an animal? I think that's an animal. Like the whole zoo is like, trust us, there's something in there. There is something in there. In there, there's a cheetah. You're the cheetah. I think you're the cheetah. It's it's a puzzle. It's a puzzle and a wildlife conserve. It's like even the bald eagle can't spot the bald eagle now. There's no way. you nowadays you're just hoping for that. You know, there's stories every so often where some crazy guys climbed into the enclosure. Like, you want that now. You want, let's get these bears out. I want to see this bear have some guy going through some stuff. I want him in there to tempt the bear out. Like, it was so much more fun back in the day. Like back in the day when there was a cage with a tiger in a cage the size of a tiger, and there was just a sign up going like, look what we just found. We got this tiger. We just got it. We don't know what they eat. We've tried Doritos. We know they eat monkey. That was a bad day. Anyway, come back at 11 o'clock for the show. We're gonna make him smoke. It's I'm cycling to places now. I've got one of those. I got one of those like little annual subscription to the city bikes. I don't know if you've tried those. No. They're fun. They're fun. Also, it's so much less stress because you just leave it at your location. I had my own bicycle for a while, and like you have to, everywhere you go in LA, if you live in any major city, but LA is really bad for it. Like, you get anywhere with your own bicycle, you have to chain it up like you're assisting Houdini. Like, it's just this series of massive chains. Like, you're like 5 chains and then a D lock and then another chain, and then you put it inside a barrel and you hoist it over the river. And all this for a bicycle that costs $100. And then I park my car and I just press one button and walk away, and my car's like $200. So I don't know why it's so much less. If you rent the bikes, so every so often, if you get lucky, they've got the electric bikes. Like, maybe you're like 1 in 10 of the bikes there are the electric ones, which they're so great. Have you? They're so much more fun. I didn't know what they would be like. Like, I thought it would be like a sort of, like a motorbike where you turn a handle thing, you turn a throttle with your hand, but it's not. Like, the electric bikes, have you tried? You just pedal and it's just easier, right? You pedal it the normal way, but it's like you just go faster. It's like your dad's running behind, pushing you. It's just, and it plays like little whispers, words of encouragement, like behind, like it's just like, you're doing great. The other kids just don't have friends because the other kids are jealous of you. It's cool. I still like living in a city, but we have issues. We had a rat problem recently, and the landlord put out traps, which that was like these horrible barbaric traps. That's not that. I think that was a culture difference. That was a culture shock. You were asking Michael earlier on about like cultural shocks and cultural differences, because in Europe, when you have rats, you deal with it by you just like find a guy with a magic flute, and that's what we he plays it and dances all the animals out of town. That I had to Google that story because I was like, am I misremembering it? And I'm not. I wasn't misremembering it. Here's the story. The town of Hamlin had a rat problem, so they found this guy, a piper. I guess it's a pipe rather than a flute. I don't know what the difference is, but he has a pipe, and he shows up and he plays it, and all the rats follow him out of town, and then he comes back and goes like, "Can I get paid now?" And they're like, "You screwed up there, Piper, because you should have really asked for the money up front because you've got rid of the rats now. So bye." So then he plays his pipe again and steals all of their children. Like, all of the children from the town follow him away and are never seen again. And I guess the lesson from that is you have to pay your contractors. I don't know what the lesson is. Like, that's quite a stretch. Like, could it small claims court maybe first? Like, he goes straight to child murder. And also, what's he doing? What's he doing with all these kids? And does he now have a house that's full of kids and rats? Is that, I don't know what he does. I want to see his Yelp reviews. I want to see this guy's Yelp review because you'd have to imagine there's a very wide disparity between them. Like, half of the reviews are like 5 stars, got rid of all our rats, amazing, and the others are like, he killed our children. Like, he took he took all of the children from our town. 2 stars because he did get rid of the rats. So he did do that, but I'll give him 1 star for the getting rid of the rats. But other than that, yeah. But I guess the other lesson is you got to teach your kids not to follow just tune. I guess it's the ice cream truck of its day. You just you hear that, they hear that music, they can't help it. They can't help but follow it. I want to see the Judge Judy episode as well, where they get the Piper back on. Like, just the Piper's like, look, they still owe me money that they promised, and then the other like, he stole our children. Like, whoa, did I ask you to speak? It's not your turn to speak. Anyway, those I think those are all the little ideas that I've been tinkering around with. I think they're the main things. I think that's where we are. I think.
Oh my God!
Thank you for letting me stumble through these.
No worries, Matt Kirshen, everybody, one more time for Matt Kirshen. Matt, where can people see you performing potentially these bits once they've been worked out, or other bits that are more polished?
Well, go to mattkirshen.com for all my dates. I'm going to be, I'm based in LA, so I gig in LA and around LA all the time, and then I'm about to be on the road. If any of your listeners are anywhere near Buffalo, New York, on the August 14th or 15th, let me get the exact date. I'm doing a really cool charity show that our friend Tom Tran is running for an amazing organization that helps people from other countries settle in and join the community. It's really cool. October 15th. The link's on my website. And then also for people from overseas, you are maybe more likely to know Sarah Millican, who's an amazing UK comedian who has a big fan base worldwide, including in America. Is odd. In America, when you mention her name, people are either like, who, or they go crazy and they're like, oh my God. So I'm opening for her on this tour of the US, starts the day after the gig with Tom. So October, November, we're all over the country. Come and see us on that.
That's awesome, man. I always love those types of people, the niche performers, out there who you're either a massive fan or you've never seen them before in your life.
Yeah,
but
it's like in America as well, because Sarah in the UK, she's a household name, and she's built up big audiences worldwide now as well, like Australia, New Zealand, all across Europe. But in America, she's fairly recently made inroads into the US. She's never been on American TV, but because of the internet, she has. Yeah, people have found her in large numbers. Like, we're playing some really cool rooms around the country. But yeah, even within the industry in America, if I talk about her to people in comedy, other comedians, people, promoters, bookers, agents, again, they're either like, yeah, of course I know her, she's amazing, or they're like, who what now? Who's this person? What clubs are you playing? And I'm like, we're playing the Beacon Theater twice. They're like, what?
That's awesome. But man, I've seen clips of her, but I don't know her act in depth. Is she a storyteller? Is she one-liner?
I would say more storyteller, and she like I think the best description, she's like your mum's rude friend. She's like the funny aunt in the family. Like, so she's cultivated a little, there's people of all ages and genders who come to her show, but I would say her median audience member is a middle-aged woman. And her audience are amazing. They're the most loyal and brilliant. Like, the gigs as an opening act, just like riding her coattails, it's a joy for me because her audiences are fantastic. But she's like she's the sort of like person you don't expect to be as rude when you see what she looks like but like sweetly filthy, I guess, is the best description of her.
That would be a good comedy special title.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like, basically her median, or like her sort of median audience member is like a rude librarian. There's a lot of
That's awesome.
Just a bunch of people with their arms folded, telling you to shush the entire time.
Like,
her audiences are fantastic. They're great. She's hilarious. It's really and it is, she does get, also you get like generations of the families coming as well, because it's like, you get people bringing their mums and daughters, and
that's awesome.
Whole families, groups of women on girls' nights out. It's great, and also like guys and big gay men contingent as well in her audience. They're fantastic.
Nice. Well, I could see, from what you're telling me, I could see her giving like the inappropriate wedding toast.
Yeah.
Give it up for the bride. Let's hope she stops being a whore. Am I right?
But yeah, so those gigs are fun. We did some earlier on in the year. We did like the East Coast dates earlier in the year, and now this is like the rest of the country is starting in October.
Well. Speaking of inappropriate things, Claude, we were listening to Matt right here, talk about the Pied Piper and everything like that. Any thoughts on that? Because first off, my thing's obviously absolutely hilarious. The stuff you're working on right now, Matt. But like, just all these fairy tales from the past. Like, if you do a Wikipedia on these things, you start realizing how traumatic all these stories are, how problematic they all are, and how anybody who wrote them today would never get published. People would be like, no, we're not. This is for children.
Yeah, if you wrote them, you'd be like, check that guy's hard drive.
Exactly.
I mean, he basically wrote a story about child trafficking.
Yeah.
That's it's interesting you brought that up. I was just explaining this to my son. I have a kiddo, he's 11, and he even asked me, he was questioning, he's like, why all these nursery rhymes, none of them end well? You're right, kid. I mean, the happiest one, honestly, guys, the happiest one is Georgie Porgy, because all he did was kiss the girls and make them cry. Like, it's still being a dick, but there's like,
I would argue that's verging on sexual assault. So that's already.
Well, what I'm saying is they're alive. Like, all the other ones, no one made it out. Like Peter Pumpkin Eater, he killed his wife and then he put her in some like pumpkin and then put her in a closet. That's just awful.
Oh, that's just boys being boys back then, Claude. Just boys will be boys. Oh my gosh.
I mean, Hansel and Gretel basically broke into a house and murdered the woman who lived there. I mean, she did imprison them as well. So like, there's
well, she threatened.
There's bad people on both sides, I would say, on that one.
Yeah, she was gonna eat them, so they're like, not today, lady.
You're just giving me an idea for a podcast episode where you just bring in nursery rhymes and you just read them word for word and break them down.
Oh my God! London Bridge is falling down. Everybody dies in that. Ring Around the Rosie, Pocket Full of Posies. They're talking about like the plague.
That's the Black Death.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
All of them are like that. I mean, okay, no people die in this, but all around the mulberry bush, the monkey chased the weasel. Pop goes the weasel. So now we're killing animals.
I never thought about Pop. When I think Pop Goes the Weasel, I think of the early '90s hip hop group Third Base. That's a deep cut reference right there.
Wow.
If that ends up on the Amazon Prime show next year, there's some problems. There's some problems. Well, Claude, you got anything you want to work out with us for a few minutes right here before we start wrapping up?
Oh, sure.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. Your next comic coming to the stage. Absolutely love this guy. He's a writer on Funny You Should Ask, a worldwide touring comedian. He's even performed, I believe, in Antarctica. Let's give it up for the one and only Claude Stewart, everybody.
Thank you, my friends. I'm very excited. We've had my family here, my mother-in-law. We had a lot of people, and it's honestly been a pleasure. My God, I love my family, but somebody bring back COVID after 5 days. I hope you like my Zoom setting. The name of my Zoom setting is Broke Airbnb Host. Don't look under the bed. There might be a body. I normally have my hair up and I don't have glasses, but I realized with this look, my God, I resemble Andy Dick's stunt person. Not the ultimate look. I'm very excited. Look, man, it's funny. We were talking about living in LA. I do live in Beverly Hills adjacent. They just changed the name of my neighborhood. I swear to God, it's Beverly Hills adjacent, and I'm so excited. Because that sounds so much better than behind the Jack in the Box. If you had your choice, I did take my wife to a restaurant recently in Beverly Hills. I got to experience the 90210, not the zip code. That was the bill. Look out! Very expensive. A lot of artificial surgery in Beverly Hills. That's no exaggeration. My waitress was very sweet, but my God, her face had more plastic than Dexter's Kill Room. We had a great time though. It's funny, people ask me about LA. I'll work with different comedians and they'll say, well, do you like it? I go, yeah, I'm very entertained by LA. I love the fact that everybody out here is in show business and everybody's full of shit. You know, it's a beautiful combination. LA is the only city in the world where people claim they're going to meet two producers and they're really just having lunch with their parents. Got a role, bro. Gonna meet these producers. Oh, really? What have they produced? Me. What's the name of the sequel? My brother. Great. I do have some good news. Mike, I didn't tell you about this. I will announce to the world now. Ladies and gentlemen, as of last Thursday, I sold a TV show, folks. I did. Thank you so much. Thank you. We made some history with this. It's a comedy reality show on the Food Network, and it is the first reality show in history hosted by two gay cooks. Yes, it's called Top and Bottom Chef. Here's the deal, though. This is true. I'm kind of on duty right now. My son is out there. My son's 11. This is a little different. Not a lot of people do this these days, but my wife homeschools my kid. And some people really hate hearing that, but I just call those people my parents. They don't get it. Simple explanation. We had to homeschool during the pandemic. He became obsessed with reading, and then he jumped ahead 3 grades, like in everything. Wow. So the other schools out here couldn't keep up with him, and I can't afford a insane private school. So the education specialist said, do this, just make sure he's in the program, but he's around other kids as well. So that's what we're doing. A couple days a week, he's around that. Then he's got Zoom, and he's here with mom. Anyway, the point is, anytime somebody judges me for homeschooling my kid, I'm like, excuse me? He is number 1 in his class. What number's your dumbass getting? But it's interesting, though. I will tell you, there's definite advantages of homeschool. You know, I don't really have tuition. I have no traffic. I have no drop-off. And I told my father that. He goes, yeah, when he graduates, he'll have no job. I was like, Dad, you're 78 years old. When he graduates, he'll have no grandpa. Don't take his side. My father started it. I will say this, though. I'll be honest. It's working out really well. But because he's homeschooled, there's certain things he just can't do. That's why I feel bad for him. You know, there's certain things he can't do as a homeschooler, like be late. Yeah, his roll call is real quick. You know, my wife's sitting there going, Stuart, honey, stop hiding behind the table. I can see you. But I will, in all honesty, my wife homeschooling my child, it's a dream come true. You know, I mean, I have no drop off. I spend more time with him, and I get to bang his teacher. Don't get nervous, Mike. I'm married to him. It's okay. Okay. I can feel Mike cringing. I had to have the birds and the bees talk with him, and I didn't want to, but you got to. You got to reach a certain point because I realized if I didn't have the birds and bees talk with him, you know who's going to? His friends. And they'll get it wrong, man. And it happened to me, to be honest with you, man. I was 8 years old. I'll never forget this. I knew nothing about, nature. And my best friend, when I was 18 years old, he goes, hey, man, you know how babies are made, right? I go, no. He's like, your dad pees in your mom. I know. And I'm 8. I don't know anything. I believed it, you know. Cut to the following week, my father takes me to a ball game. And I don't know if ladies watching this, if you're aware of this, but at the ball games, the restrooms for the men are set up. There's no individual stall. There's just a giant urinal trough, right? And by the way, that is really rude. That's a lot of pressure to call it a trough. You're a growing boy, and you got to compare yourself to a horse. It's not fair. They're not setting you up for success. So I remember the whole trough was empty, except the end of it, there was one guy, and he's standing there. And my father goes, all right, son, go. Just go pee. And I go, no. Son, go pee. The game starts. He's like, no, I can't. He's like, why not? I'm like, because I don't want that man to get me pregnant. So that's why I had to have the the talk with it, which we finally did. I showed my son my favorite movie ever as a kid, the Raiders of the Lost Ark. I love that movie, specifically the truck scene where he's hanging out with a bullwhip. That entire truck scene, it made me want to be a stuntman. Like I absolutely love that. My wife really was holding off. She didn't want me to show it to him because you guys remember the very end of the original when they open the Ark and then the evil spirits come out and melt the Nazis' faces off, right? Okay. So she's like, it's too scary. It traumatized me as a kid. I was like, look, it's my favorite movie as a kid. He's going to be fine, right? So I prepped him. I go, buddy, at the end, there's a scary movie, but look, it's a scene. It's just a movie. I'm here with you. Nothing's going to happen to you, okay? And he goes, yeah, cool. We watch the movie, and then I pause it. I go, you okay, buddy? He goes, yeah, I'm fine. So now I'm worried he's a sociopath. He wasn't bothered at all, but then it hit me, maybe that reaction's okay. Like, at least he didn't like the scene too much, Like, I'd rather have his reaction than like, yeah, Dad, that was great. Can we rewind that? Can you pause it? Slow motion? Hey, Dad, can you turn on the stove and just stand next to it? Why? I want to see the look at your face when I shove you into the flames. Like, red rum, Jeremy spoken clear. Thank you, Matt, Mike. I'm glad you're of age. I did that to Generation Z. They're like, oh my God, who's Jeremy? They don't get it. Yeah, man. By the way, I like to think that I'm very a good customer for customer service reps, but I realize I am a middle-aged white guy now because when I do get mad at customer service, I say the exact same word that any pissed off middle-aged white man says. Unacceptable. This entire operation is unacceptable, right? That's how I know. And by the way, here's an observation. Nobody in customer service says thank you anymore. Have you noticed this? The words thank you have now been replaced with of course. Right? Nobody ever said that. It was like, oh, sorry, I meant you're welcome. It's you're welcome. Nobody says you're welcome. So, you'll say like, oh, thank you very much. Of course. Now, to me, what's weird about that is the words of course responding to thank you sound extremely defensive. Right? Like, of course, that's my job. Why wouldn't I? I'm a good person. I pay my taxes. I got vaccinated. I did not kill my cousin. What? So it's a little defensive. That's my only thing. Yes, I think I've gone over everything. I'll just tell you this real quick. You have to watch what you say in front of your child because my God, it comes back. I will never forget this. My son was super young. My wife's on the phone and she says BS. My kid runs out to me, Daddy, what's BS? Like, BS is a grown-up term people say when somebody's lying. Oh, well, what does BS stand for? I had to think quick. I was like, BS stands for, but seriously? Like, I thought that was a quick, cute recovery. I felt good. And then he looks at me and goes, Daddy, that's bullshit. My little dude is smart. That's it for me. Thank you very much.
Claude Stewart, everybody. One more time for the one and only Claude Stewart. Claude, where can people see you perform? I know you guys are in production right now, but are you touring at all?
Yeah, we're doing it via Zoom. We're shooting every other Tuesday, so I'm still bouncing around the country and other places. The easiest thing for you to like follow me, just go to social media. Check me out on Instagram. I'm at Claude Stewart 4. It's CLAUDESTUART4, and find me all over Facebook, TikTok. It's just Claude Stewart. And I'm always posting my dates. So also have some specials out too. I'm running a thing right now. If you DM me, I will send you 3 specials for the price of 1. I'll do my R-rated, my G-rated, and my PG-13. And then I have a new open bar special that's coming out next month. So
wow, nice. Wow, that's a lot to unpack right there. Just on the plugs alone. Matt, any thoughts on Claude?
I want to know, Claude, if your kid has ever accidentally called his teacher mum, because that's
you know what? She used to live in Wales. She went to college in Wales, and she loves the UK. She would love to hear him say "mama." Mommy, not so much, but mom, she would be flattered.
Oh my gosh, that does mean, Claude. One of the things that you were saying that I was making me laugh was the whole unacceptable thing. Because I am like, I'm just thinking about that. Like, Matt, do you ever start feeling like you start saying things, you realize you're like, I've aged out. I've aged out of like young age, and I've now aged into like the other generation.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, those things hit me. I think doing stand up as well when you're playing to audiences, that hits you where you suddenly realize how. I remember aging out of being I thought I was still like college age, and then just realizing that I wasn't, like because I started stand up as a student, and so like I thought, oh, yeah, these are still my people. And then I was about 24 and I did Reading University in the UK, and I had a beer on stage because in the UK they drink in the student unions because the drinking age is 18. So like there's drinks everywhere. So I brought a beer on stage with me, which is not unusual. And then some guy in the front row just went like down it, and a few other guys joined in. And I just remember going like, no, I'm a grown up. I bought this beer to drink it. And it's just that's the point where I realized like, oh, I'm not them. I thought I was still basically their generation, but I'm not. I'm not this. And then yeah, there's all these reminders. There's all these like, yeah, behaviors that just like. Also, I looked really young. I always looked really young. So when I was 18, I looked like 14, 15. And I just remember somewhere around like my late 20s was the point at which I realized that stranger women, like suddenly perceived me as potentially a threat, and that was weird. that was a novel experience because it was like suddenly like I had to recalibrate my behavior, because when I was like 20 and most guys, if they have sense about them, would realize like, oh yeah, if you're walking alone at night and there's another woman like that or whatever, they might cross the street, and that's just because you're a strange man, and you know that your intentions are not bad, but they don't know that, and that's completely reasonable. But I had to learn that later in life because they didn't perceive me that way until I was well into my 20s.
They're like, why is this middle schooler?
Like, oh, there's a kid. There's a 14-year-old boy on this bus with me. He's fine. What's he gonna do? Say something rude? Flick something at me? Like, I don't.
They're like more.
Welcome to people think I'm creepy, so I've matured now.
Yeah, it was. It was like, I must look older now because women can perceive me as potentially a creep. I've aged into creep.
It is crazy. I always try to be very respectful. Like, if I'm walking at night, there's a woman, jogging or walking toward me. And I read this thing that said an assailant, like someone who's an attacker of anyone, they don't want you to look them in the eyes, and apparently they never look you in the eyes because they don't want to be identified, right? So I was like, oh great, I'm just gonna look people like, hello, how are you? But then that's creepy.
Oh, that's super creepy.
Yeah.
It is hard to. Yeah, it's hard to sort of there. If I'm walking the same way as a woman on the street, I will try to get ahead of her, so that because it's definitely less creepy to follow a guy than it is to be followed by a guy.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'll try to get ahead, and I'll cross the street now. Yeah.
But if she's coming head on, I just can't. Hello?
Yeah, because everything else that you do that like tries to signal that you're not a threat sounds also like something a creep would. I am not a threat.
Pay no attention to the man behind these creepy glasses.
Yeah.
It was making me think of I'm working on this scene in my acting class, and there's a line where I'm saying to the therapist that's diagnosing me for my condition. Then he's like, and he goes, oh, the ballet dancers, the ones that I followed into their home and said, don't worry, I'm not gonna kill you.
My God.
It's like anyone who says that has nefarious intentions. Like, well, why does that even come to your head?
Well, Mike, remember we used to talk about this, Matt. It's my theory that like there's two types of creepy. There's angry creepy and there's happy creepy. Let's be honest. I mean, happy creepy is always worse, right? like let's say there's a knock on your door late at night. You look through your peephole. Like what is scarier? The guy looking at you doing this, or the guy looking at you doing this? Like you see that guy, you're about to die.
I know. Yeah, the other guy's just having a bad day.
Right, but the second guy, there's no conscience.
No conscience whatsoever. In fact, he may think that you're a deer in there that he has to hunt and kill.
Or it makes me think that I think George Carlin had that great line where he goes, I always discern between a crazy person and a psychopath, okay? Because a psychopath will stab you 40 times. A crazy person will do the exact same thing, but the entire time they're wearing a Bugs Bunny outfit.
Oh, good old Bugs Bunny. By the way, I learned something, speaking of international, as we start wrapping everything up here, is like, I learned that apparently, like, I think it's in December. I think it might be around Christmas. Like all of Sweden shuts down for them to watch this one Donald Duck cartoon.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The entire country shuts down because it's a tradition. It's been going on since 1958 or 59.
Oh, that's so weird.
Yeah.
There is an English comedy sketch that no one in the UK knows, but everyone in Germany does.
Yes, on New Year's Eve. On New Year's Eve.
Yeah,
right?
and it's called.
Yeah.
Is it called Dinner for One?
Yes.
I think it is. And it's this old woman, widowed woman, and her butler / servant, and the running line in it is same procedure as last year, same procedure as every year.
And they all know it
and if you
word
meet
for
a German
word
person,
in
they can
English.
quote this. Yeah, they can quote it verbatim. A good friend of mine at university is German, and I just remember this conversation we all had with him where he was aghast that we didn't know this English sketch. It was just completely like tattooed onto the soul of every German.
Well, how does that happen, guys? How do you know?
I don't know. It's not even that funny. That's what that's what's crazy about it. I mean, yeah, it's like it'd be like taking like the least funny French avant-garde act and all of America watches it on the 4th of July. Like it's so bizarre. It's so
celebrate our independence for this.
It's like somebody accidentally had that stuck in their VHS in Germany, and then it just became a viral sensation.
Yeah.
Maybe, somebody high in the government loved it and then showed it to everyone, and they're like, all right, I guess we have to do this now.
Well, they did have a history of that back. They've had a history of that.
But no, Mike, seriously, thank you for telling me about that, and Matt as well, because I have to write 15 jokes a day, and I'm like, all right, that's 2 of 15.
Oh, about the Donald Duck and the German Dinner for One. Oh, okay. You've got to go on YouTube and you've got to watch Dinner for One, though.
Dinner for One.
There's also, while we're talking about odd Christmas traditions, I think it's Iceland. If my friend Nick and I got briefly obsessed with this because there was this Icelandic chef we became friends with, and he was telling us about I'm almost certain it's Iceland. It's somewhere, one of the northern, very cold countries that has this Christmas tradition of Yule lads, who are, so instead of just Santa arriving on Christmas Eve, there are like these 12 kind of elf, gnome, troll kind of things that show up, and they're all malicious in different subtle ways. Like one of them slams your doors, and one of them blows out your candles, one of them steals the milk from your cows. And then that became like the next week was us just coming up with different things that these guys could do.
Nice.
It's unbelievable. It's like the whole like
one of them reverses your wife's nipples. Like it's just.
It's like when I learned about It's like when I learned about Krampus. I was like, why are these stories even? Why is this a thing?
Krampus. That's right.
We've come full circle. Just horrendous things that you tell your kids.
Yeah. Oh my God.
How to ruin a childhood with Michael Magic.
Now we will wrap up right now, guys. And thanks for taking the time, guys. Remember, if you want to check out all these shows, guys, we will be posting these all over our socials, as well as you can be able to find them on all the different platforms: Apple, Spotify, YouTube.
Just sorry to interrupt there, Michael, but one tiny correction. There are 13 of them. The Icelandic Yule lads. There are 13.
That's awesome.
Unbelievable. And I need to learn them all. Claude needs to learn them all that's 13 answers right there, Claude, for work. 13 trivia answers right there.
You guys made my day a lot easier. Thank you.
Well, that's how it works
Oh,
out.
and sorry, also there is the Yule cat that is a huge and vicious cat who lurks around the snowy countryside during Christmas time and eats people who have not received any new clothes to wear before Christmas Eve.
Oh my God.
Again, I'm sorry, you're desperately trying to wrap up the show, Michael. I'm just chucking more Icelandic Christmas facts at you.
You know, it's okay, Matt. I mean, who you can never do with too many Icelandic Yuletide facts. You know, you can do those for the rest of your life. I was going to wrap up and say, you know, with the whole Krampus thing is like the whole story of Krampus goes farther back than our American, or for lack of a better term, universal, concept of Santa Claus now, which I believe was created by the Coca-Cola company in the 19th century. So to sell Coca-Cola.
Look, without Coca-Cola, we wouldn't know that polar bears get along with other animals. So wasn't that their whole thing? The polar bear got along with it was, I don't know. The polar bear.
They
What was
did.
the other animal?
Okay, I did not realize that.
You don't remember that commercial? It was like the polar bear was going to attack some other animal, but then they whips out a bottle of Coke. Hey, we're buddies now.
No, Claude, I believe you made
And
that commercial up in your head. That one.
It's educational. It teaches you how to, because there's always that thing about bears, like which bear, one you play dead, one you fight back, and one you offer carbonated beverages. Like they're the three.
The polar bear.
Polar bear.
Yeah,
the polar bear, or you have them on New Year's Day jump into a freezing cold pond. I believe that's also a polar bear activity. That's a deep cut reference for anybody there who remembers the Polar Bear Club.
Hell yeah!
Oh yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Just shout out again to the one and only Claude Stewart. Find him on socials. Find Matt Kirshen on socials. You can find us at Comedy in English. You can find me at Michael Magid, except for on TikTok where I am Michael Magid Comedy, because Michael Magid may be a Ghanaian actor who took that on TikTok. I don't know, but it's not me.
Yeah, he's on Amazon Prime on a new show, Mike.
Oh, there he is. There he is doing my bits. All right, guys. That's all the time for our Comedy in English, and we're out. We'll see you later.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.